Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we are taking a look at a very old game indeed. A 22-year-old game almost, in fact. In fact, we are talking about Star Trek Armada. Now, I regrettably am old enough to say that I purchased this upon release and enjoyed it very much.
Standing by.
But alas, technology moved on, and I soon found myself unable to play it, which was really annoying. I think like from Windows 7 onwards, the game just didn't want to play ball. I'd periodically spend a couple of hours here and there just, dicking around with it, Googling, trying to figure out how I could get the damn thing to run. I never really did. I got it launched a couple of times, but with such major issues, it was relatively unplayable. So, why am I giving you a review of this game now? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the good news is that GOG, or GOG, have indeed released Star Trek Armada on their service, and it works fairly perfectly with a couple of qualifiers there. So basically, it looks like they're not using DOSBox or anything like that because it was a Windows game, but they do seem to have a custom DirectX wrapper for it. So you go and you change the settings, and that basically allows you to run the game. And it works quite well. You have to let the application dictate most of the settings, but you do need to make sure it sets it to full screen, otherwise you run into issues where you can't bring it to the front. Outside of that, it works perfectly. It's on there for about, I think it's like 15 quid, which is quite a lot for a 20-odd-year-old game, but seeing as you haven't been able to play it in years, I guess there's a certain amount of fan expectation that they want to play this game again, and I was certainly amongst those. So Star Trek Armada is basically Command & Conquer, but Star Trek. I know you had Star Trek, I think it was New Worlds. I never actually played that one, where they did like actual ground-based stuff with Star Trek, which... Why would you do a ground-based thing with Star Trek? It doesn't make sense.
Enemy engaged.
Can you remember any ground-based vehicles or stuff other than the stupid buggy from Nemesis? And that was just because Patrick Stewart liked driving. Anyway, get off topic. So,
prepare the docking base.
It basically opens up with a time travel omega particle mystery that spans the major factions of the Alpha. I was going to say Alpha Quadrant, but technically Gamma and Delta Quadrant as well. So you have 4 campaigns. You have the Federation, the Klingons, the Romulans, and the Borg. They all play quite differently. You can see there has been some attempt to sort of level off the power of each faction against each other and just level it. Because the things that the Borg should do, like all ships should be able to regenerate, only the Sphere can in this, because otherwise... Yeah, you're not going to lose with the Borg, are you now? Just putting that one out there. They are very annoying anyway, though, because of their innate ability to assimilate things, which is very annoying. Because not only does your units have health, it has shields, and it has crew. So it's kind of like a bit more detailed. So you get shot, you have a bar, that's your shields. Your shields go down, they start hitting your structure, and then there's subsystems that get damaged, such as your shield generator weapons, life support, all that jazz, or they could just blow you up. You also have crew. Now, crew, you can beam into damaged enemy starships to try and take them over. Or if you're the Borg, you can just flat out assimilate them and add them to your pool of crew. The overall pool of crew, not the ship one. I'll straighten that out in a second. Or indeed, you can just flat out assimilate things with the cube, with their assimilation holding beam, and then you end up with, say, you assimilate an Akira class starship. You end up with an Akira class starship with all the green knobbly bits that indicates Borg assimilation, which is kind of cool. I really like that. It's very fun to play as. It's less fun to have it done against you, because you're doing fine. You're like, oh, what's going on? My ship isn't doing anything. I've been shot. What's going on? And yeah, they've just assimilated all of your crew and it's empty. And you're like, oh, I'll beam some people across again from my other ships, so they'll be more prone to that. Okay.
Standing by.
You see what I'm saying? it's adding an extra sort of little wrinkle into how you have to approach things. You can't just sit there and slug it out because you know they could be just nicking your crew, even if they're not shooting you. So it's like, aye. But it's super fun to do it when you're the Borg. There's also a lot of missions where you have to salvage ships. So there'll be damaged ships, and you'll have to go around and beam crew onto them and bring them back. So you end up with like a little ragtag sort of fleet of various factions, which is kind of cool. You will run across a few factions that don't have campaigns. So you will run across the Dominion, the Cardassians, the Breen, and the Ferengi. It also has like the... I don't know how easily you will find a match online because I haven't tried it, but you certainly have the ability to have instant matches against computer players, different levels of the AI, stuff like that. The main component of the game, you have several different resources. You have officers, you have crew, and you have dilithium. So officers are basically your population cap. So you have X amount of officers, and each ship you build requires X amount of officers from that pool. And once you get to that part, you can't build any more, but you have to add like a wing onto the starbase to situate more officers. So it's all very familiar. It's just Star Trek, really, in that regard. You have two different types of shipyard. You have one modification center which allows you to unlock the special abilities of each ship, and one specific modification center which allows you to unlock the abilities of a specific ship who has multiple abilities, such as the Nebula class starship or the Borg Diamond.
Awaiting orders.
So it has all that, and you have two different types of shipyard, one for the small ships, one for the bigger ships. Each faction has a super weapon. The Federation's, for instance, is being able to freeze time. And you have the smaller ships as well, so you can pitter-patter. The Defiant is a smaller ship, so you can have Defiant classes that come out your nose. It's a really good game. The storyline itself, I won't touch too heavily on, but there is time travel. There is Picard facing Locutus. Get your head around that one. Because of time travel, obviously, because what I just said, but whatever. Sealer's back. You have the Omega particles in there. It's just great. And you have a lot of returning actors from the show as well. So you have Patrick Stewart, you have Michael Dorn, you have Denise Crosby, who probably regrets very much that she wanted out in the first series, but yeah, tough. You have Martok's actor, J.G. Hertzler. He's in it as well, so it really makes it feel like Star Trek. Some of the cutscenes are a little bit because it's clearly just a still image with like some dude's mouth animated in a very shonky 90s style where they don't really have enough frames to make the mouth movements look at all real, so they just look like they're gabbling regardless of what they're saying. But the look, the ability to produce like starships that you know the look of and are familiar with, and they are somewhat faithful to the abilities of those starships as well. Like the Nebula is the science vessel, so it has more abilities, so that makes sense. Obviously the Sovereign is a big ship, although there is no Galaxy class. Where's the Galaxy class? I know the Enterprise was no longer Galaxy class, it was Sovereign class. But they were still out there. Even if they were glass cannons, basically. But anyway, that's a conversation for a different time.
Standing by.
You do have character ships as well, so you'll have Worf aboard, I think it's the Avenger, not the Defiant, but the Avenger, which is like his hero ship. And then it's slightly bigger than sort of the other regular Defiant class ships, just to sort of signify it's different. The same for Sealer's Warbird, and the same for the Enterprise Sovereign class. Ships like that, I think the is it the Navar? Yeah, the Navar is the flagship now, isn't it? Now they've got the new ones for the Klingons. So yeah, Hertzler gets the Navar, Martok, I should say. Confusing people. It's confusing. It's a great game. I really enjoy playing it. I'm not great at it, but I've completed it before, primarily because they don't hide the INI file very well, and it's super easy to edit it. Just a little tip there if you do get stuck. I love it when INI files just tell you exactly what everything means, and then you're just like, well, I can just change that. then you
Enemy
can. So,
engaged.
there you go. Now they tend to obfuscate
Standing
it,
by.
and you don't know what you're changing until someone actually releases something to tell you what you're changing. But in this, it's just like,
Ready weapons.
here's your damage multiplier, here's your stuff. You want this? Do
Standing
you want
by.
cheaper things? You just put that. Yeah. So, yeah, you can do that. So, I'm not gonna split hairs. I'm more,
Ready
you know
and
me. I'm a
able.
more like story-oriented gamer. So,
Reroute all auxiliary power to
I didn't want to get stuck on like a particular
Standing by.
mission. So, yeah, I may have done that for a couple of missions and loved it. Because
Ready
it felt
and
like
able.
when you're the Borg,
Reroute all
you
auxiliary
kind of want to be
power
the Borg,
weapons.
not like Voyager Borg. You kind of want to be like Next Gen Borg, where one cube decimates the entirety of Starfleet,
Ready and able.
rather than, you know, dozens of cubes falling to a strong, independent woman. Can't stand Janeway.
Enemy engaged.
Well, what absolute bell end of a character that is. So hypocritical. Oh well.
Standing by.
So you just missed the days of Next Generation where you didn't have to deal with the actors' politics and they were just
Reroute all
actors that you
auxiliary
didn't know
power
anything
to
about.
weapons.
That was super back then. I loved it. Anyway, guys, Star Trek Armada is now available to buy on GOG. I have to say, I didn't have too many problems running it, but you may want to have a fiddle. The GOG forums are very helpful and were exactly where I found the answer to any problems I had. So, 15 quid, it's well worth it. 4 campaigns, and there's like a little one afterwards as well, which I won't tell you about, but yes, there's a bit more game to go after you complete the ball campaign, so enjoy that.
Standing by.
And have fun. Let me know also, like, what games
Standing by.
that you used to play,
Enemy
but now
engaged.
because of licensing or
Standing by.
just technical issues, you can't play anymore. Let me know down below.
Standing by.
I'll start you off. The Blair Witch games, you know, the trilogy that came out. Haven't been able to get those running for love nor money. Have all 3, can't play them. It's very annoying. And some child is screaming outside my window because they're in obvious agreement. Hopefully that won't come across, but if it doesn't, I'll look like a tit.
Starship construction.
Oh well,
commencing.
I'll just blame senility as I have just had my birthday. I am now older than I care to mention.
Standing by.
Anyway, guys, you take it easy, and I'll speak to you next Saturday. Take care.